Taoiseach, as we're all aware, for quite a number of years, the people of Ukraine were subjected to very serious military aggression by Russia on its border. And sadly, since the end of February, we witness on our television screens on a daily basis the horrors being inflicted on an independent country, a sovereign country, by an evil regime in Russia. Sadly, we see such loss of life, such suffering, and millions of people displaced. I was glad that at the last European Council meeting there was a very strong and firm commitment of the European Union expressing its unity of purpose, along with other partners, Britain, the United States and other members of the international community as well. And it's important that the sanctions are imposed and that they have a major adverse impact on Russia. Taoiseach, it was important as well, I believe, that the European Union continues to show solidarity with the refugees and have to compliment the people of our own country in their support for people fleeing war, horror and victims of an evil regime. But despite those challenges and what the European Union, the international community face at the present time, I still think it's very important, Taoiseach, that the European Union progresses and accelerates, as you said yourself, membership of the candidacy of the Ukraine for membership of the European Union, and similarly to speed up the membership applications of Georgia and Moldova as well. And like Deputy Haughey, energy costs and energy supplies are having a huge impact on households and businesses, and we need further measures at European Union level. Thank you, Laskin.
In relation to the Ukraine and the International Criminal Court, we have allocated 3 million additional funding to strengthen the resources of the court. We do believe war crimes, no question, have been committed in the Ukraine, and the people responsible need to be brought to account. I met with the Ukrainian Prime Minister Denis Shamal in Shannon last Wednesday, and I assured him of our strongest possible support for Ukraine, and including providing support for those who have arrived in Ireland having had to flee their homes. I also made clear my support for Ukraine's application to join the European Union and for the further 6th round of sanctions against Russia. We have joined 40 countries, Deputy, in referring what is happening in Ukraine to the International Criminal Court, and we'll look at other ways that we can get accountability for these heinous crimes. The European Union has provided 1.5 billion of a package of European peace facility support for Ukrainian armed forces. Ireland is contributing our full share, 33 million, which will go towards non-lethal elements. Discussions and further sanctions continue, particularly in relation to banning imports of oil from Russia, and we will continue to support the widest possible sanctions. Ireland has frozen over 1.2 billion of Russian assets as of the 22nd of April, and the European Union amended existing sanctions to better facilitate humanitarian access and work in Ukraine, including by the International Committee of the Red Cross, UN agencies and certain humanitarian organisations. Government has provided 20 million in humanitarian aid through the UN and NGO partners in Ukraine and in neighbouring countries. And a dedicated Ukraine civil society fund of 2 million will specifically support Irish NGOs responding to the crisis. The Russian invasion, and Deputy Smith also raised issues in relation to this. It's also now putting immense pressure on global food and nutrition security, driving up prices for essential food and agricultural commodities. The worst impact will be felt by the poorest countries, as well as those who are reliant on imports for their food security. As I said earlier in the dawn, energy, food and a migration crisis are part of the war effort of the Russian Federation, and that's designed to put pressure on European member states, in other words, to take the pressure off the Russian Federation ultimately, but that will not happen. I agree with Deputy Smith, we need to accelerate the application by Ukraine for membership of the European Union, and I've articulated that, as well as for other neighbourhood countries such as Georgia and Moldova.